This show is sponsored in part by Flat Fee Tax Prep and Services, offering quality tax preparation, serving clients nationwide. For more information, visit www.flatfeecreditandtax.com. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.
Hey, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Uncommon Faith. It's your girl, Laflower B, and I'm so happy that I'm able to be with y'all on another Tuesday night because it's the holidays. The struggle has been real. I don't know if Regina can hear me, but y'all, she backstage looked like she landed a plane. But I'm happy that you guys are here. So you guys can't hear me. Can you guys hear me? Perfect. Because I was getting a little nervous because Regina was, y'all know the people with the little lights, on the runway, and maybe, land. That's what I saw backstage, y'all. But how you doing, Regina? How you doing?
I am wonderful. How about yourself, Miss Laflower?
When I tell you, the struggle has been real. The struggle's been real. Do you see your girl's face? I'm all in my natural essence. Y'all ain't get nothing extra today.
Welcome to my club.
I do have this cute little coffee mug. This mug. Yes, the hubs got it for me over the weekend. And so, yeah, y'all know how much I love coffee and tea. So, I just got me a fresh white chocolate mocha. Y'all know how I do. And we're going to rock it out tonight. Regine, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking.
Don't start. Don't start, Regina. Don't start. That's what we're not doing tonight, ma'am.
Well, as you guys can see, first of all, thank you all for joining us tonight. If you have not had the opportunity to like and share the broadcast, please do so because we have an amazing guest joining us tonight. And Laflower will give her an awesome intro. I know you guys noticed that we are missing one of our co-hosts this evening. Our sissy, DeAndra, was unable to be with us, but we know she tuning in. Yes, and she is taking care of some things. But yeah, so it's Tuesday and we are ready to rock it out. So I was not landing airplanes in the background. I was trying to land my way onto the show. Where I'm at.
I was just sharing with the good people of, the Uncommon Faith family, what it looked like from my point of view. I'm happy you are okay, y'all. I'm happy Gina is all right, y'all.
Absolutely.
But yes, guys, I am just on my my little friend here. I was just sharing the broadcast. So as Regina said, if you're watching from any of our social platforms, definitely like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching from, one of our podcasts, I said podcast. I can't talk today, so y'all get ready. I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. Podcast platforms like Google Podcasts, y'all already know all the stuff. Download. Comment, let us keep rocking with us. But yeah, definitely like, share, and subscribe. We got an awesome show packed for you tonight.
Mr. Bowie in the house.
Hey babes, I miss Mr. Bowie. How you doing, mister? How you doing? All right, guys. So tonight, before we jump into I Know God is Real, we're going to go ahead and break Tiffany in. That's our guest guy. I said break her in. We're going to bring her in. Miss Tiffany, y'all. Tiffany is a healer. She does so much good work. She does international work in South Africa. She is just flat out amazing. But one of the things I love about Tiffany is Tiffany going to keep it real 1,000 at all times. I think we need people around us to keep it real 10,000 at all times, especially when it comes to leadership, friendship, and all of that, right? So Tiffany is the author of Dear Leader. I was looking for my copy. I guess somebody else in the house is reading it right now because I was going to show it off. There you go. Beautiful book, guys. Go and get this book. I know Tiffany's going to take a chance to tell us more about it. But Tiffany, welcome to Uncommon Faith. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. So tell the Uncommon Faith family about yourself.
Girl, first of all, I'm trying to catch my breath. That's what I'm going to tell you. said, keeping it real, I had to run in here because I was like, I cannot be late for Miss Laflower's show. First of all, thank you for having me. And what's to tell? So I'm Tiffany Rochelle. I am an international award-winning speaker, teacher, trainer. I'm a healer. I am an author, best-selling author, and my book is titled Dear Leader, a personal guide for leaders through peace, pandemic, and protest. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I'm an all-around girl of faith. I'm that friend that you want who's going to tell you that you got broccoli in your teeth and tell you pull your coattails when you're wrong. And I love working with people to help to activate them and moving into their line of purpose and helping them to clear out their blocks, heal their wounds so that they can shine and help others to shine. So that's a quick down and dirty of me.
I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
Welcome. Welcome. And guys, sneak peek, Miss Tiffany will also be joining us for the Uncommon Faith Retreat, but we'll talk more about that later. First, let's jump into this first segment. So Tiffany, the first segment of Uncommon Faith, here on Uncommon Faith, of course, our faith is definitely uncommon. It's definitely non-traditional, unboxed, unchurched, all of that. But we love church. We love the Lord, all of that. Shout out to Yeshua for being amazing. But I told you, I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth tonight, y'all.
I see.
Hey, I gave a disclaimer already. But the first segment of the show is I Know God is Real Because. And so we love this segment, and we always like to give our guests an opportunity to just share, whether it's a testimony or an instance, something that you remember. Like, what was one of those defining moments where you were like, I know God is real. Like, there is no way that he ain't real because this here happened.
Oh wow. There's so many. Hold on, give me a second. Let me think.
That's the normal response.
I mean, just my life in general, my journey. I guess I like to be real succinct in my answers, but I also like to give context. So I was raised in a religion, but religion never took hold of me. Right? I always believed in God, but I didn't have a connection with him. And so probably around 2009, I literally was like, okay, God, there's got to be something more. What is there? What is there? And every day I would write in my journal, who are you? Who am I to you? Show me. And it was basically the same thing. Like, God, who am I? Who are you? And show me, like, who are you? Who are you? Who am I? You? That's the only thing I would write in the journal. And literally just the way God evolved his conversation with me, because I used to think he talked to everybody else but me. And that's been a constant struggle in my journey, even though people around me be like, girl, you're so anointed. I'm like, yeah, okay, hold on. What did he whisper to you? But literally just the way God has walked me through getting to know him, learning to hear from him, and then activating me so that I could actually use what he gave me in the life of others, and then to help them to see their gifts. So for me, that whole walk is God is real, but there's just, there's so many little things. So I guess here's one. Here it is. I don't know my whole walk, but my youngest son, who's now 20, 4 days before Christmas in 2017, he was shot in the chest. He was at a gas station after basketball practice, just random gunfire. He got shot in the chest with a 9mm. I had just spoken to him. 30 minutes later, I received a phone call from his coach telling me my son had been shot in his chest. And I was like, wait a minute, we were supposed to go out of town. I just talked to him, like, what happened? What is this? And then I said, no, honey, we got to go. So they had life flighted him to the trauma hospital in Miami. I was living in Miami at that time. And the whole time I was calm, and I was just talking to God. I was like, God, you send me around the world to help restore other people's homes, to help restore other people to their children, to help restore other people's lives. So I know you're going to handle this. I was like, supernatural healing is what I'm expecting, Lord. And so I got to the emergency room. I was the calmest person there. His coach was there, his principal from his school, his teammates, people were there. I was the only calm one sitting in the ER. And then a detective came out to talk to me, and she said, "Oh, your son asked for you." And I said, "Oh, okay, he's good. Like, he's good." And everybody was like, "Oh," and the doctors were telling me that he was going to have surgery if they couldn't stop the bleeding in his stomach, if they couldn't find out the source of blood. I told him, "You're not going to have to do any of that. He's fine." And literally, I had to wait for 2 hours. And I sat calm. I was just calm. There was nothing extra in my mind, just he's okay. And then the doctors came down and were like, "We didn't have to do any extra surgery. He's fine. We put a tube to collect the extra blood." And there was 20% of his liver was torn, but the liver is the only organ in our body that self-heals. So my son was in the ER, was in the ICU for 4 days. On the 7th day, we walked out of the hospital. No surgery, no extra nothing, no stitches, no residual anything. So there, I knew God had preserved my child because so many other people had a different outcome. The bullet, I'll say this last part and then I'll let it go. The bullet missed his spine by an inch, and it went straight through. And when the doctors looked at it, they kept looking at both sides of his chest because they said it should have hit all of his organs going through. And they couldn't explain it. I said, God did it. They literally said that the bullet, it looked like the bullet did like this and then curved around his internal organs. I said it did. Oh, he might have breathed in. I don't care what you say. I know my God did that. So that's when I know God is real. One of the many times.
Wow.
Wow.
That's it. That's it.
Wow.
Just
And that right there is the reason why we do this segment, because we know God has shown up and showed out in all of our lives in so many different ways. And sometimes, like, I feel we need to take that time to just sit back and hear the testimony, because we overcome by the word of our testimony, right? We need to hear those things and share those things. And so we are still serving a miracle working God.
ooh,
He
Yes.
has not changed.
yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
And I thank you for sharing that story with us, honey. That touched me and that did my soul some good. Okay. I mean, if I did not have to contain myself in this square right here,
No, Gina, I
and
was going around the room. I was like,
come on now,
real quick.
look, I really want to shout and dance real fast for you, because that's what I'm feeling in my spirit. But then when I get to moving,
I haven't told that story in a long time, and I felt the emotion of it actually coming up. Not for, like, when it was done, it was done. I had no upset, no pain, no. My son recovered completely. Like, there was no bad dreams, there was no anger. Like, I was never mad at the assailants. I still don't know who they are to this day. All that was God, but in the telling of it, like, just reliving and understanding, like, it really caught me, like, Lord, you are good. Like, yes.
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 Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my
Ooh.
God. I think we almost need like some praise break music, Gina. We need to like, have that on the background. And I know it's gonna be like almost corny, you know, like the Ricky Smiley show, how they have
I
like,
don't care. I don't care. Look, yes. Where's the keyboard? We're going to start bringing the keyboard out.
Girl, I'm just gonna find a clip and give it to the producer and be like,
yes.
Play
Hit that one time.
Because that is so amazing. It's like, and that's, again, we love this segment of the show because we know how worthy that God is. It's like those are those receipts that we talk about, right? It's like when we start getting down, when we start looking at our lives and where things are going and all of that stuff. Think about the receipts of God. Think about how God has proven himself over and over and over and over, not only in our lives, but in our children's lives, right? I was just looking at Alana yesterday. She's like, Mommy, she's like, I had to sit out at PE. She's like, I went too hard. I was like, what you mean you went too hard? She's like, I went too hard. We was playing basketball. I went too hard. And she was like, but I had to sit out because my chest started hurting. And it just took me back. It took me back to her having to have open heart surgery, her, just everything. And I was but she was fine. She was like, yeah, I went to the nurse. And then it sounded like she was upset because she missed the rest of PE because she wanted to play so hard. But I'm happy that she's learning, to listen to her body and things like that. But just the fear fact that she's here, that she's here, she's 9 years old, because that could have been a different story. So we know God is real, especially when he shows up in our babies' lives, because we have no control. We can't do nothing when it comes to our children.
I said, just call on him. That's all we got, but that's all we need.
Right? And then you remember hearing Big Mama say, the prayers of the righteous, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? I know somebody, grandma, that said that scripture, that said that script, you hear that, but when it happens and you reflect on it, it just hits, that scripture is weighted different. It just has so much different weight. Gina, do you have a I Know God Is Real that you want to share this week? Or are you still just breathing in Miss Tiffany's? Because it has.
I am. I'm not going to add or take nothing away from that, honey. That's that hard all by itself.
It did. No, we're not going to get into it, Tiffany. We're going to have to bring you back for another show, because I heard what you said when you first started, where you said
yes.
you was in something. You was a part of something, right? You was like, but you never got a hold of God, right? It took some time for you to have that relationship with God. And I think so many of us go through that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like we sit in pews, we observe the scriptures, we observe the what the leaders are telling us, but it's like, what happens when God gets a hold of you?
That's right.
It's like that's a game changer.
Oh, most definitely. It most definitely is. And yeah, I'm ready for the other show. I don't want to derail where we're going on this one. So yes.
This week I want to talk about leadership, because I know the book is called Dear Leader, and I think that so many times us leaders. Will you tell us about the book? Tell us a little bit more about the book. Dive a little bit deeper into that.
Okay, so I'm going to hold up a copy of this book. This is obviously my author's copy because I have notes and everything. But this right here is a work of faith and love, because my calling, my purpose in this life is leaders and leadership. I work with high functioning leaders. I actually work on two ends of the leadership spectrum, right? So, I work with high functioning leaders who lead organizations, who lead groups, who lead however they lead. I work with them. And I also work with up and coming new leaders. So developing youth and women leaders in underserved communities. So on both sides of the spectrum, what my work in these communities looks like in Africa and other parts of the world is going into communities where people don't hear them, people don't listen to them, and actually accessing and helping them to notice and recognize their own leadership capabilities, recognize the leadership capabilities in others, joining together to create their own solutions for their own problems. Because one of the first things I say is there's no saviors coming. Nobody's coming to save us. I can't save you. So what y'all gonna do, right? So then
and nobody coming to save you.
No saviors coming. So working with these youth for them to actually get a hold of their identity and understand that they're capable is like one of the biggest joys of my life. On the other end of that, I work with the leaders who have been leading. They've done all the courses. They've had the successes, yet they may have an imbalanced personal life. They may be in transition. They may be in burnout. They may be just questioning why they're even doing what they're doing. And so I'm generally the person that helps them to restore the balance, to reestablish their humanity for themselves and for others, and then to reignite their spark. And sometimes reignition means helping them give themselves permission to rest. Right. And so how Dear Leader was born, I literally was in South Africa sitting down, and God always gives me downloads when I'm there. And so I was sitting and he was like, write a book. And I'm like, oh, okay, you've been telling me write a book for a long time. All right, whatever. And then he gave me the idea to write letters to leaders so that whoever is reading my book will feel a personal conversation is occurring between them and their self, right? So this book is designed that whatever stage a leader is in, whether they're at the beginning of the stage or they're ready to retire, they can read this and they can begin to self-assess. They can begin to get a good foundation of their identity, who they are, who they serve, why they serve. They can start to address what wounds that is causing them to operate a certain way so that they can begin to heal. And they start to build their legacy. Like, who are they passing the torch to? Are they passing the torch? How are they doing it? So it's a very powerful piece of work. It's a small book, but it's power packed, because you're going to read it and you will feel some self-awareness and answer some questions for yourself about yourself and your purpose in this life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know I was only a couple pages in and I think I text you like, girl, this is hidden. Oh my God. You to be in self-reflection almost immediately. You know, if you are, I will say this, when you read Dear Leader, you have to read Dear Leader ready to do some work as a leader. You know, don't go into reading Dear Leader, you know, thinking that it's just going to be another leadership book that just gives you everything, gives you ABC 1, 2, 3, the 10 points on how to do this, you know, the qualities. It's not that type of book. There's actually, and you guys know we have a soul work segment on the show. It has so much soul work in there. As you're reading it, it's going to hit you. Gina, what do you think about Dear Leader so far from what you've heard?
Right, because, well, for certain, based on what I've heard thus far, I will be running out to purchase Dear Leader. So I can read it and have this experience that you have spoken of. It's so funny because I have a book on my desk at work, God Grant Me Wisdom, and it's verses for leadership. And so it's just different. Every day I read to see, okay, as a leader, what am I doing? And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm ready to replace that book and put this up there instead and dive into that. But I love the concept of the letters. And so thus, Dear Leader. Yeah, I'm just excited about picking it up and reading it, Miss Tiffany.
Well, girl, we're in the same city. Hit me up. I'll give you a signed copy. I got you. I got you. I really love Dear Leader because it was a struggle for me in this way. God had told me to write a book like in 2010, but he knows me. He knows he got to tell me something a long time before it's due because I'm a perform in the 11th hour, right? So
I'm familiar.
Right. So 2017, it was like, okay, here's the book you're gonna write. This is like, I'm like, okay. And then I kept going, Lord, how come you gave Susie over here a book and in 48 hours she wrote the whole book? Why are you making me struggle through this? Why are you making me struggle through this? Like, you want me to write the book. I didn't ask to write the book. Keeping it 100, right? And I'm saying this because there's so many of us, I believe, that have assignments that God has told us to do, and we're dragging our feet. He already knows we're going to drag our feet, but it's like I always knew I was going to do it. I always knew I was going to do it, but I was just putting it off to the very last minute. And then the end of 2019, he said, you can't do anything else until this book is done.
Hot dog.
He was like, you've done everything else. You've been so obedient. It was so nice that you did all those other things I asked you to do, but this is the thing you gotta do, and you haven't done it yet. He was like, it's got to be done because I'm not giving you any more instructions until the book is done. And so I
My
literally had
goodness.
to finally pull all these pages because I hand wrote this book. I had literally had to pull all these pages, put them together, and then it was published January of 2020. Yeah. No, this year. It was 2020. Yeah, sorry. I'm mixing up my times. This COVID got me tripping. So the end of 2020, I published at the beginning of this year. Yep, January.
Awesome. That is awesome. You know something, Miss Tiffany, you said something. As we prepare to go into the new year, we like to fast and reflect over, the current year and get our instructions and positioning so we can hit the new year hard, right? As opposed to sitting in the new year in the beginning, waiting, it's like, okay, what's next? We want to go in there already knowing what's going on. But you said something very key when you said that God told you that you weren't going to get any further instruction until you completed what he told you to do. And so that takes me back to the reflection over the year. How important is it for us to be obedient and recognizing that until we fulfill the things that God has told us to do, he's not able to take us into that next season?
Mm-hmm. It's highly, highly important. And there's a lot of people who use the term, I'm waiting on God, when in fact, they know they haven't done what God told them to do already. And we make up excuses. We highlight fears. We involve ourselves in distractions. And then we blame the enemy.
Hot dog.
When he ain't paying no attention because you ain't doing nothing. He ain't got to pay attention. So
it's like blows left and right. Like
I know you're coming down almost everybody's street tonight.
Come on now.
Don't be mad at us.
Rolling.
Don't be mad. Don't be mad with somebody.
Okay.
Exactly.
With that big spotlight on the side of Popo car, shining.
Listen, I've long said people spend too much time trying to blame the enemy, and they ain't doing nothing for him to be bothered with them.
Right.
Like, he ain't thinking about you. You doing it yourself because you ain't doing what you're supposed to do.
That's right.
Like, you're not
That's
even.
right.
You ain't doing your assignment.
Right. So what?
What you say, Laflower?
No, I said you're not even working on your assignment to further the kingdom. So you're not a threat to him.
That's right.
You're not getting stronger, and you're not helping other people get stronger at the same time. And we do that. First thing we want to say is the enemy, or we want to call out other people.
That's right.
They're the distraction. You stopping me. You hating on me. You sinning. And, we were talking about energy the other week. We want to, everybody's all about energy and vibes and stuff like that. But if your discernment and stuff is up, it don't matter what type of energy they have. You're going to be able to recognize that and judge yourself accordingly, make the proper pivots, and do what you got to do. Right?
Come on, you hit something. Come on, Miss Tiffany, what you got?
Listen, you hitting on something, because I'm a big believer in self-accountability.
Yes.
Self-accountability and responsibility, right? So before I blame anybody for anything in my life, I'm always going to check me first. And literally in my whole life, it's always been me. It's always been me, right? Whatever I've done has always been me. I have never had a hater. I don't know what they look like. You know why I don't know? Because I don't address anybody who's not in my sphere, my circle. Like, you're not even on my level. Why am I bothering? Like, I can't give my energy to frivolous things. And too many people are giving energy to frivolous things and causing a thing to grow. Now, the other thing why you saw me turning my head and twisting my hand is because I was literally having this conversation with one of my friends, and we were talking about how people in the church spend so much time fighting witches and casting out demons. Boo, that's low level energies. Like, those are literally low level functioning beings. Why are you glorifying witches and demons instead of glorifying the Lord? Why is there so much time spent chasing witches out of the house? How they get in your house? Because if you was doing what you're supposed to do, they can't even exist in your atmosphere. And you know what? When you're doing what you're supposed to do, God will erect a hedge of protection around you.
Yes, he will.
You
I
ain't
didn't have to get my face close into the camera here. Like, look, I didn't have to move in.
If I hear one more person talk about let's pray against witches, why are you praying against witches instead of talking about bringing the kingdom forth?
Right.
Come on.
Just getting your energy and your time.
Because when we look at how, you know, we look at how Yeshua walked, when we looked at how Jesus walked, the key thing is you want to be in tune spiritually to be able to recognize, you know, how they say real recognize real. You want to be able to recognize what it is, you know, cast it, move from it, walk past it, or it won't even, if you operating in your lane, like if you in your lane, like you're gonna repel most of those
That's
things.
it. It can't even be in your presence. You cannot be in my presence.
No.
Understand that. Darkness cannot be where this light is. Right. Let's be clear.
Right. The closer you try to get to me, the more I'm going to repel. You're going to be like, it's not going to work. Like, you're not going to be able to enter into my inner court, into my inner circle, because we can't exist in the same, we can't exist in the same space. And that's what we have to focus, more kingdom people, more leaders, we have to focus on finding our lane, getting in position, and staying in our position.
That's right. In right position.
In the season that we're in.
How about I'm going to give you one better? I'm going to give you one more better. When we are functioning as we're supposed to, and we understand the authority and dominion we actually carry, we're not spending time battling. We're sending words. Get out of here. That's literally as easy as it is. You don't have to scream. You ain't got to stomp on no heads. You ain't got to throw holy oil on folks. You ain't got to dance around the building 7 times. You ain't got to call everybody around you.
Making the walls fall.
Demons are not deaf. You ain't got to scream at them all day. Jesus wasn't screaming. And he said we will do greater works than him. So most of us don't understand our authority, and we're doing something that was taught to us erroneously. So our actions are manifestations of bad teachings.
Oh,
come on.
And so we out here.
Say that again. Say that again.
Manifestations of bad teaching.
That is so.
We out here doing.
That's good. That'll preach.
We're doing performative things that don't work, and we wonder why our prayers not working and stuff, because we in the wrong, we over here feeling around in the dark instead of understanding our authority and operating in the dominion that God has given us. But we only know that if we're getting in tune and alignment with what God is telling us directly and specifically, and following it.
Say it. Now I would testify, guys. Like, even when, because y'all know your girl, you know, I ain't gonna go too deep, but you know, sometimes we gotta cast out some demons. Sometimes, you know, a demon will be right there in our face and we gotta handle it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I found is, it's like the more in tune you are in, it's like the spirit of discernment is going to give you everything you need to know about that spirit, about that demon. You don't have to sit there and have a conversation like, why are you here? What's your name? Because in most instances, when I've been in contact, I know who they are. I've seen generations of this thing being attached to the bloodline. I know the history, right? And so we don't have to, you don't have to really put on a full show. You go in there, if God shows you like, hey, I need you to take care of this thing right here. Regina knows, I'm gonna take care of this thing real quick.
Real live Buffy.
Listen, and I'm sure that you knew what you do. And the thing is, God's not ever going to send you to a battle He didn't prepare you for.
I'm telling you. For real. And sometimes it's like you don't even know what's in you until you really, really surrender and let the Holy Spirit take over. Because like literally when it says, you know, for God will honor your, He will order your steps. He'll order your tongue. Like whenever I'm in those situations, it's like the Holy Spirit just takes over. But we have to be so willing and so trusting of God to allow Him to take full range when we are in those situations.
That is awesome. That's a true word right there.
True.
That's a true word. That's that submission and obedience.
So many people profess faith, but they don't trust.
You
They
gotta-
profess faith, but do not trust God. And and we all go through it. I know I've gone through it. I know that there's still times I'm like, oh, do I really trust God right here? Like it's a constant walk. And the more he stretches us, the more we have to relinquish the trust. So every time he takes us to a new level, we have to surrender yet again. And we have to establish a new level of trust because now you're in a different position, in a different elevation. So it's always going to come up. Well, people will be like, I've seen so many people who are like, oh, I have faith. I believe in the Lord. I trust in the Lord. No, you have faith that God is real. You have faith that God has done some things for you, but you don't trust him. Why do I know you don't trust him? Because your actions are saying that you're trusting what you can do and what you know and what you see and what you touch and not what God is doing.
Right.
You want to be in the know and not in the flow. So
I think, hey, we can meditate on that for a second and take a quick commercial break right there. She said you in the know and not in the flow.
We'll be right back, y'all. I ain't got nothing to add. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for the perfect gift this holiday season? Great, I have something just for you. It's the Stunner Radio Holiday Gift Guide with amazing products from Black-owned, woman-owned, and veteran-owned businesses. We've curated an amazing list just for you. So visit www.stunnerradio.com/holiday gift guide to check it out. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you. Hey, it's your girl Lisa Dene, and I want to tell you about a product that has changed my life. Rain Premium Sanitary Napkins. Rain products are infused with a Nobel Prize-winning material called graphene. It's the graphene strip that provides the various health benefits that can improve your quality of life during that time of the month. Listen, I've been very loyal to a certain brand of feminine products, but I've never experienced the results I get with Rain products. The difference is in the graphene strip. Using Rain products has totally eliminated the painful cramps I experience, and it can also help balance your body's pH, eliminate harmful bacteria, and help fight fatigue. Graphene moves heat away from your core to keep you cool and comfortable. Ladies, it's time to upgrade your feminine care with products that not only offer protection, but also improve your health and wellness. Place your order today and receive your premium sanitary napkins delivered directly to your door. Visit www.drfcare.com to make your purchase today. And don't forget to mention that your girl Lisa Dene and Stunner Radio sent you.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Uncommon Faith. I'm happy that we ran that Rain commercial instead of the other commercial that we normally run because those products are absolutely amazing. If you guys have not checked out Dr. Finney and those products, they are phenomenal. Some of the girls have tested them out at the house, and guys, you can definitely tell a difference. So definitely support Dr. Finney with checking out some of those Rain products, as well as the Stunner Radio Holiday Guide. Go check it out. We got some Uncommon Faith gear on there, all types of stuff. But guys, welcome back. We are chatting with our very special guest. See, I told you I can't talk tonight. Miss Tiffany. Tiffany tonight. Guys, she is a phenomenal author. We've just been talking about faith. We've been talking about how we know God is real. I'm about to turn it over to Regina, y'all, because I can't talk. Just so many things. And we ended on what did Tiffany say? What? We're not in the flow.
You operating in the know and not the flow.
Right. And so many times we get that. It's like have you guys ever had someone come to you asking for advice? Right? They ask you to pray for them, they telling you this story, and then next thing you know, you hear them talking to sister so-and-so. Telling them the same thing. Pray for me. You talking to Miss Brother So and Deacon Ulu and Mr. Ruleroo.
Not Deacon Ulu.
and everybody, right? Or have you had that person where they ask you for advice and you really praying like, okay, good baby, let me see God on this. Let me see what God is. All of that. You give them what God lays on your heart, and they'll do something totally different.
Those are assholes.
Yes. Explain that to him, Miss Tiffany.
Yes, assholes. They're gonna ask you a 55,000 questions and still do what they're gonna do without even considering what they asked you for. And then they'll ask another person and they'll ask another person. So basically, yeah, those are they just a pit of questions without implementation.
Right. And at this point in my life, because I had a conversation with my oldest, and she's like, she had an epiphany or a realization with the relationship that she has with a friend. And she's like, well, every time this friend comes, she still do what she want to do. Like, she never listens to my sound advice. Like, she's like, I really have some good stuff to tell her because I've done, I've gone down the path that she wants to go. But she takes other people's advice, or she just wants people to listen and all of that stuff. She doesn't absorb the advice. And she's like, I'm not doing that anymore. And I was so proud of her for coming to that realization in her relationship so early, because it took me a while. It took me a while to get there, right? To even realize these assholes that Tiffany talking about, because I would really be wasting my time.
Yes.
Pouring into people, especially in corporate America, people coming into my office, closing
yes.
my wasting. I'm gonna say because I've been talking to y'all all day, but I'm like, don't implement anything. Now I know, Gina, with you being in HR, you didn't seen that a couple times or two.
Huh. Yeah, a couple or two, indeed. But it is constant. It is always, and you're right. And you have to learn to, like you say all the time, our oil is precious. So we have to be cognizant of where we are pouring it. And you learn those individuals. I'm one of those. Once I get your number, you show me your colors, I got it filed away. So I know who I'm dealing with, and I'm going to handle it accordingly. Those individuals that I know really are hearing and listening and acting on the things that I'm telling them, those are the individuals that I'm going to spend more time with and actually pour into them. The other ones, no, I just sit there. I learn to be quiet and just listen. Because that's, like you said, that's the only reason you came. You just want to talk. You want to vent or something to that nature. And that's fine. Sometimes you feel you need to do those things. But I'm going to know what my role is in that.
Right. You're not going to get my good oil no more. I'm going to say that for somebody else, right? Or I flip the script on, like, baby, what do you think you should do? How is that working?
Allow them to keep talking.
Right.
Oh no, that's great. And the thing is, I don't work in corporate America like that anymore. I work for myself, so I really don't have any patience or time for it. So before people come to me, I'm like, listen, this is what you're gonna get. Are you ready for that? I'm gonna give you the truth, whether you like it or whether you don't. And my question is, do you really want to be healed? Do you really want to be fixed, or do you just want to vent? Because if you just want to vent, I'm not the person. I'm a very expensive person to vent to. Because no, it's very expensive. I'm gonna charge you a lot to vent to me. And no, I don't want to spend my time like that. So do you want to be healed? Do you want to be healed? No? Okay. You just need a moment. I'm not the person for you.
Yeah, Tiffany, I think that's a great way to pivot into, you guys know that we have the Uncommon Faith retreat coming up, the winter retreat or the fall retreat, because it's still fall. Be the light. Guys, we are so excited because Friday night we're going to have the virtual session with everyone. We still have some virtual spots open, so definitely if you want to be in the building or virtually with us, and we're going to be doing a raffle for everyone that's a virtual attendee for one of the Uncommon Faith swag bags. And I'm not sure, we may have some spots left for overnight, guys, but I pivoted to the retreat because sometimes when we hear retreat, we think spa weekend, relaxing. But when you come to a healing retreat, when you come to like an Uncommon Faith retreat, are you ready to be healed? Like, are you ready to do the work? Are you ready to go to that place? Right. And as Miss Von Zant says, are you ready to do your work? Because if you're not, then a retreat like this or any type of healing retreat is not going to be the best thing for you. Okay. We won't have any crystals. We won't have any crystals, y'all. we won't. I'm gonna have some candles, but I won't be burning no sage. I won't be burning the sage. Um, I will call on Jesus quite a few times. So if any of those things don't agree with you, if that doesn't hit as true to you, then that may not be, this may not be your type of thing. And it's cool. But if it does, guys, definitely, register, be a part, because I definitely want to help everyone get in position to really be the light, because that's what, I couldn't find words to it. DeAndra said it a couple weeks ago about being the light, because the season that we're in right now in the kingdom of God, there are so many people that are getting in position, and they are going to be the light. They're going to be that example for people who are looking. You have the ecclesia is rising, right? You have so many righteous people, real righteous people that have been hidden, people that you didn't forgot about, people who you thought, oh, she ain't winning on the gram, so she ain't winning. She ain't, she ain't blown up, so she ain't it. These are people that God has almost been hiding, right?
Come on.
You've been doing God's work. And I tell you guys, I every year I struggle with doing the beautifully broken end of the year fast. I legit struggle, and I really have to go to God every single year. Say, God, do you really want me to do this corporate fast? Do you really want me to do you really? But every year he's like, yes. And so this is our 4th year, and we start on the 3rd. And I say that because just because someone is hidden, or they may not be as mainstream and popping like some of y'all say, doesn't mean they're not impacting. And we have one lady who was in the Beautifully Broken fast last year. She birthed a journal. In that thing, she birthed a whole birthing group that, she has hundreds of ladies in there that are they're doing their work, they're doing their healing. And God just had to remind me, he's like, I don't care how many people participate in this fast. He's like, it's ordained for the people that are supposed to be there, who are going to birth the things and get in position to do what I need them to do for the following year. And so he had to check me real quick, because I'm like, Lord,
that's right.
1,000 people signing up for this fast each year. I'm like, it's a whole lot of accountability, for 21 days, right? But he just reminded me, I don't care what work you're doing. If you impact one person, that's what he wanted.
That's right.
Like, it's not about the numbers, it's about the impact.
Absolutely. We have to remind ourselves. I know constantly, I tell myself every day, Regina, this ain't about you. When I try to get in my feelings or think this or anything, it's like, you know what? This is not about you. This is bigger than you. It always has been. It always will be, and I'm but a vapor, right? In this time. And so either I'm going to fall in line and do what he has for me to do, or he's going to get the next person that's already standing up, waiting to go.
That's true.
He is going to get it done. That's very much true. It's not about the numbers. It is always about the obedience. And the one thing that I wanted to touch on that stood out for me and what you were saying, Flower, is that there's been so many people that have been hidden because they've been being groomed and pruned and prepared to come forth. And a lot of church people's sensibilities are about to be real raw, and they're about to be real upset, because what you going to do when the guy with face tattoos comes and proclaims the name of Jesus? What you going to do when the person who changed their sex finds the Lord and he uses them because of their testimony? Are we going to be, oh no, you can't possibly be who the Lord would choose, because you used to be a man and now you're a woman, or you used to be a woman and now you're a man? There's a lot of things that God is doing that the body, are going to struggle with, because we have too many people who want to put framework on God work.
Say it.
That's it.
All of these little sayings is in your next book.
If not, I'm gonna take a couple of them and go and corn them.
But you're right. We try to put God in such a box, and I think that's why we have so much church hurt. And you have so many people that have separated themselves from, from the 4 walls of the church,
Right.
One, he was prudent. You guys know I was pulled out. I didn't want to be pulled out. It's like literally I was hurt. I was hurt, when God had me sit out for a season and he pulled me away from the church. It was like literally I went through a grieving stage where I was like, God, how you go from worship leader, ministry, like all of these things, and then you like, it's time for you to go. Like, I gotta pull you up out of here. I'm like, well, what do I do? Like, why? And he will literally harden people's hearts towards you to make you move.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Understand that I had to separate when God hardens your heart, someone's heart, from the actual person hardening their heart. That's totally different. Because when God needs something to happen, he will harden their heart towards you or towards a situation. And it took me a long time, and I had to separate my emotions from people. And I'm like, Daddy, this was you the whole time? This was you. And so I struggled.
Say that again for the people in the back. Why they be claiming everything is the devil? Say it again. Yes.
Sometimes he will do things, guys, to pull, because I wouldn't have left if he didn't make me leave.
That's right.
He did not make
me there.
Leave. Regina knows I would not have left.
Been there.
On the island if he didn't make me leave. And I thought that was the last place. I had been in the wilderness in every other area in my life. That was the last place. And I'm like, I done left the church. I'm coming back now. Ordained, like all of this stuff. And then you pull me away.
All for purpose, right? Because even in that, it had nothing to do with you.
No.
Right? But had everything to do with where he was taking you, the people that he has set aside for you, that you are meant to reach, touch, and you have to understand where they've been, what they've experienced, for you to better be able to relate to them. Because I had a similar experience, and I'm like, okay, Daddy, I get it now. But at the time, you like, what is going on? What's going on? But that hardening of the heart, he absolutely will do that. That happened with me with not the church situation, but with a job situation, right? It was just like, he's like, it's time to go. And you not moving when I'm telling you to move. So I got it.
Right. Right.
I'm laughing because my experience was completely opposite. I had not been in the organized religion in 25 years. And me and him were doing fine as far as I was concerned, because I was talking to him every day. We were just walking along, strolling. He was telling me stuff. And then one day he was like, I need you to join the church. And I was like, nah, that ain't part of our deal. Like, we good, right? And he literally is like, will you let me cut you? Let me cut you. And in these processes is where I learned, he was like, I need to tie you to a post, because you cannot have authority without having submission.
That's it.
I wasn't submitted. Listen, I wasn't submitted under anybody. It was just me and the Lord. He was like, I need some submission from you. And I was like, but I'm submitted to you. He was like, And he needed me to get an appreciation of the ecclesia.
Yes.
He needed me to get a space, because if he's calling me to the leaders that are leading his congregations, I can't be out here talking about y'all people over there. He had to knit me into a body. He had to graft me in. So the one thing I understand is everything that he does to us and for us, pulling us in, pulling us out, pushing us around, pushing us under, is always for his bride.
That's it.
Oh, Jesus.
Always bigger than us.
Much bigger than us.
This is good. I just can't believe that we're nearing the end of the show. I'm not ready. I feels like we just getting started good. But Laflower, I really feel like with Miss Tiffany on tonight, I know we haven't done this segment in quite some time.
Oh, Lord.
But I do believe that we got the right one today.
We're not going to do no sisters art for Regina.
Come on now. Come on now. That's what
you want.
How can you not? How can you not with Miss Tiffany on the show?
So what's your question for the sister circle?
I don't have one.
Are you kidding me? I'm gonna bring up the sister circle. But Tiffany, we used to have a segment on the show. Sometimes we pull it out the archives, as Regina just did. And basically,
it's a sister check.
Yeah,
it's a sister check.
Okay.
Sister check. So basically, we would just give a scenario on a situation, and this is a conversation you would only have with a sister, somebody that's in your inner circle. We've talked about infidelity, we've talked about just doing things that's not of God. But I know we had a viewer say they want to know about the "let me cut you." Like,
yeah, what they said, explain that.
What does that mean?
When you say Daddy said, "Let me cut you."
And as you're thinking about that, it's crazy because earlier when we went on commercial, I'm like, I'm going to ask Tiffany about submission. And it's crazy that I didn't get a chance to ask you how you feel about leadership needing some type of to be able to submit to at some point. I believe every leader has to be able to submit.
You cannot lead without it.
You can't. You cannot. And it's a source of checks and balances, because if you're not answering to anybody, who you answering to?
That's it. Right? I think Jesus is by far our best, greatest example of so many things, and a leader is one of them.
Mm-hmm. Right? Because he constantly submitted to the Father. But go ahead with the cut you.
So what I've learned is that we, in our little human selves, always have things that we value, right? And the one thing I know is that the Father is always going to come after what we value most. So if you idolize your children, if you idolize if you idolize your job, your car, your house,
your spouse, your man, your woman,
your money,
come for it, right? He's going to ask you, who's the king of your heart? Who sits on the throne of your heart? And for me, none of those was my heart. My freedom was on the throne of my heart. And so what he did when he asked me to tie myself to a church, to join a church, to tie me to a post, he cut me, because that hurt. I cried for 2 weeks, literally physical tears. I felt betrayed. I felt bamboozled. I was like, God, you got me into a corner where you knew I wasn't going to tell you no, because all I've been singing is yes, 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 Lord, yes, Lord, yes, Lord. And he was like, yeah, I'm about to ask you for something. It's going to cut. And so I had to submit. And what he was doing was not only wounding me, right? He was pruning me.
Pruning. That's it.
And
pruning is cutting.
Feel good.
Pruning is cutting.
Good. But that's the reason why I have this tattoo. This is the representation of John 15:5. I'm the vine, you are the branches, right? Abide in me, right? And if you're not, and I'm just paraphrasing, but if you're not functioning, if you're not producing, you're gonna get cut away and thrown into the fire. But any vine that is residing with God gets pruned so that it can flourish and so that it can produce more. And so he cut me. He pulled me in. He sat me in a space. Now, when I tell you he gave me the most beautiful space I ever could imagine being in, because I was like, Lord, if you give me one of them other kind of passes, we're going to have some conversation, because me and Pastor ain't going to get along, and I'm going to tell him about himself. So he put me in a space where I received the most love I had ever received in any kind of religious organization. The pastor was so amazing, such a man of integrity, such a man of honor, right? Who truly had a heart and a love for the people. And then he met with me regularly and talked to me, and he listened to God. He was like, God just told me that you be here, because he had assignments for everybody in the church, right? Everybody had an assignment. He was like, God just told me that you be here. Like, just be here and love you. That's what he told me. And I'm like, fine. And in that, God was still using me to make some things happen within that church. But then he was also getting me used to being in a body and not feeling so alienated and far, like, I don't want to be with them. So now I feel I can go even into a church where I don't like the pastor and be okay, because I understand assignment and I understand the importance of the ecclesia and how these leaders need healing and they need to be brought together, because I've been cut. So I understand what cutting looks like and I understand the necessity of it. But yeah, it was not fun at first.
Mm.
2 weeks of tears because I really felt like he had bamboozled me.
Wow.
But he wanted my freedom. He wanted my freedom, and anything, whatever it is, I gave it to him, and he's like, I'm always going to give you back more than you ever imagined, because the freedom that I could give you is nothing you can imagine in the natural.
Wow. God is just
Come
literally
on.
so dope. He is so, just listening to Tiffany's story and thinking about what I went through in 2020, it's like total opposite, but yet the same. Right?
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yes.
It's crazy. God is just, he constantly blows my mind. Gina, Tiffany, what you got for y'all? Close us off. Do something. I'm done.
Look.
Well,
Yes. But it is needed.
Yeah, Tiffany, tell me where you can get the book, where I can get the book at.
So you can get my book, Dear Leader, A Personal Guide for Leaders Through Peace, Pandemic, and Protest. You can get it on www.dearleaderbook.com, or you can go to Amazon. It is on Amazon, either of those two places. And I know you will enjoy it. Be ready to work on yourself.
Boom.
That is awesome. All I can say is, look, tonight has been phenomenal. And so many nuggets and phrases for me to walk away with tonight. Okay. I'm definitely going to use some of these. But all I can say is, if you have enjoyed anything you've heard tonight, if anything touched you, resonated in your spirit, I encourage you to join us at the retreat. Okay, so you can get more of Miss Tiffany, honey, raw and uncut, okay, which is what we need in our lives.
Absolutely. All right, guys.
That's it for me.
It's an honor to be with you ladies tonight. This was so fun. Like, I don't want it to end, but we're gonna have fun at the retreat. So thank you.
That's it.
Yes, we're definitely
Thank you so much.
Back on the show, guys. We love you. We appreciate you. Remember the December Beautifully Broken Fast. We'll be posting it on our Uncommon Faith pages, on all of our socials, as well as our personal pages, guys. Definitely join our group. It's just going to be a glory. I'm super excited about what God is doing in everybody's lives, because it just looks so different. It's literally not it's like you can't expect this. You can't predict what God is doing in this season, right? You just literally have to walk and stand in obedience and let him do what he do.
That's it. With a spirit of expectancy.
Exactly.
Because we know he's doing something.
Exactly. Well, we love you. We appreciate you. Grace and peace to everybody. Good night.
Grace and peace. Till next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.